Well, if your home caught fire in the city of Toledo, you might have a significant amount of money waiting for you in the fire escrow account. But can you get it?
That's the question, and it might not be as easy as you think. Lead investigator Brian Duggar explains.
Few people in Toledo know about the city's fire escrow account. I didn't, and I've lived here since 1998. But if an insurance company pays out to a private homeowner after a fire, a portion of the money goes into this account. The idea is this: if the homeowner doesn't repair, rebuild, or raise the home, the city can use the money to rehab or level the structure. But if the homeowner repairs the property, the money should be released to them. So we decided to see if that's happening. The fire escrow account listed on the city's homepage includes dozens of properties, some dating back to 1997. There is more than $2 million in the account, just waiting for residents to claim it. Do you know Mary Terrell?
Who's looking for him?
Well, I am. Brian Duggar from WTOL. We're doing a story on there's people that the city owes a bunch of money to.
Yeah.
And she's one of them. We went looking for those on the list. We picked an address and drove to it. Mary Terrell's home was destroyed by fire in 2007, and she rebuilt. There's a fund that the city is holding $11,352 for you.
Oh, yeah?
She obviously was excited by the news.
This is unbelievable.
This is what, I mean, somebody had reached out from the city who was upset that there's, basically at this point, there's $2 million in this account from people that just haven't got this money back. And,
okay.
So I would do that.
So
and
let me get something so I can write this down, because it's, I mean, $11,000. Who could not use $11,000?
She filled out the application on the city's homepage.
If I were to get $11,000,
made plans.
I have several places I would like to go. Hawaii, Jerusalem, and a family outing.
And almost immediately, the city shot down those plans. In an email, City Commissioner Dennis Kennedy says the city considers money abandoned if there's no response from the resident after 5 years. Some people may believe that it's a legally gray area as far as when that 5 years is up. But listen to this. Mary got an email from the city. They told her that her money was forfeited as of September 2022. That's 15 years after her house caught on fire.
Depraise the house.
She was also told they tried to notify her. In June, in the Blade.
And they reached out, put it in the Blade. Well, I don't get the Blade.
They also sent her a letter in 2007 when she was living in a hotel, basically homeless.
If I got it, I don't remember. If I got it, I would have remembered it, because I remember $11,000.
Nowhere on the city's homepage does it list the time limit for claiming her money, and her rebuilt home is still listed on the site.
I did everything that would qualify me for my abatement, if you will. And the address is here, and I'm home enough to get my mail, and I was just wondering why wasn't I notified by mail?
After all these years, the city is telling her she missed out by a couple months.
4 separate weeks. Missed
out on more than $11,000.
Well, actually, I feel kind of slighted. In September of 22, and here I am on a list, the third quarter, and now the funds are not available. I don't feel too good about that at all. I'm going to say I'm pretty upset about it.
Now, we reached out to the city and asked them to sit down with us. We heard no response, unfortunately. Again, maybe, and it's not exactly clear, the city could be within its right to consider this money forfeited. But there wasn't much of an effort to find Mary, and she clearly is not happy about that. Reporting in studio, this is Brian Duggar for WTOL 11.
Last night, we introduced you to Mary Terrell, a Central Toledoan, our 11 Investigates team, bringing us her story. Her property was listed in Toledo's fire escrow account, and the account showed that she was owed more than $11,000. Lead investigator Brian Duggar is at One Government Center with our update.
Not only was Mary owed that money, but we also discovered that back in November, City Council took that money and put it in a demolition trust fund. So this afternoon, we sat down with City Commissioner Dennis Kennedy to ask why this happened. He explained that he has a team of 12 employees who scour the fire escrow account, trying to find eligible residents, but also determining who is legitimately abandoned claim. That money can then be used to demolish homes that need to be demolished. Mary's name was put on the abandoned list, but he promised that he would look further into it.
The effort is there and we're trying, but sometimes people like Mary can fall through the cracks. That doesn't mean that things can't be resolved.
So here's some good news. After our interview, Kennedy emailed me to say that he believes a mistake was made and he's working to get Mary that $11,000. We're certainly going to keep up on this story, but for now, reporting downtown, this is Brian Duggar for WTOL 11.
WTOL 11 investigates told that people are flooding the city of Toledo with emails and calls looking for money owed to them. It has been 2 weeks since we aired our investigation into Toledo's fire escrow account. The escrow account contains insurance money being held by the city after a fire. We're told the city has received about 100 calls and emails from people asking about those refunds. It's money that should be returned after repairs have been made, but officials said they have not been able to track down the people on the list. That hasn't been a problem for our 11 Investigates team. We found 7 people on the list in just the last 3 weeks. Collectively, they are owed more than $75,000. Now, if you believe you are owed money by the city, you can contact Engage Toledo or WTOL 11's lead investigator, Brian Duggar.
Our 11 Investigates team has been digging into the city of Toledo's fire escrow account for the past 2 months. We found several people on the list who were due refunds by the city. Altogether, since our investigation, more than $500,000 has been returned to residents. Lead investigator Brian Duggar was at this afternoon's council meeting, during which council voted to return even more money to residents. Brian?
Yeah, it's a big day for 7 Toledo residents. City Council just voted to give refunds to those 7 residents, totaling nearly $37,000. And this is money that Council transferred in November after being assured that the money had been abandoned. It totaled 64 properties. Of course, it took us very little effort to find multiple people on the fire escrow list. One of the refunds coming after today's vote is to Mary Terrell, who was shocked when we told her she was owed money. She's planning a nice vacation with that refund. Now, we talked to Councilman Nick Comives earlier today. He thanked us for our story and says there's a big focus by the city on this issue.
Right now, we want to make sure that the money that exists that we were considering transferring or that we might is going to be scrutinized heavily. And we want to let them do their job and make sure that that happens. And we'll be reviewing the process. I just had a meeting with the new city auditor and mentioned that this should be a high priority for him.
Now, today's vote actually involved that transfer of money from November, but we can tell you that we continue to dig, and we actually found a $1.1 million transfer back in late 2021. Now, we asked the city for records related to those transfers, the property records, and they have not responded to us. But of course, we're going to continue to stay on this story, but for now, this is Brian Duggar reporting live in downtown Toledo.
Our 11 Investigates team has been looking into the city of Toledo's fire escrow account for several months.
This is an account that holds insurance money for property owners who have experienced a fire at their homes, and we have found numerous issues with it.
Lead investigator Brian Duggar joins us tonight with an update. Brian?
Yes, the city's holding this insurance money, but the key is that it is supposed to be returned when repairs have been made. But in the last 2 years, more than $1 million has been considered abandoned and transferred out of the account because the city could not find the property owners. The problem is that we have found several of these residents. And after we reported on some of them, money for 7 residents was returned to the account by council last month. Unfortunately, that good news came as, well, news to some of those homeowners.
We were able to identify these people and speak with them after continuous review, and these accounts should no longer be declared as abandoned, but as refunds.
On April 11th, City Commissioner Dennis Kennedy testified before Toledo City Council, explaining why nearly $37,000 should be returned to the city's fire escrow account. 7 formerly lost residents had now been found.
6 of them are actually people that we reached out to, and then 1 has reached out to us.
But in fact, 11 Investigates can find no evidence that the city reached out to any of the 6.
Because it kept saying, we'll check into it, and I said, well, fine.
We knocked on other doors. Another one of the 6 tells us they didn't remember ever talking to the city about the account. You, David? A third person says he gave up getting his money back 5 years ago.
The city is not.
But after being told council set his money aside, he eagerly called the city and got no response. But those 7 residents discussed before council last month are just the tip of the iceberg. Dozens of other residents were declared missing at the end of last year when their money was taken out of the fire escrow account. One of them is Abina Rowland, who is alive and well.
Very gifted, just naturally. When he was a kid, he always walked around with a notebook.
He just came right back, got him spinning backwards. He don't like me, but I'm his favorite rapper.
Abina's son, Jovan, was on the fast track as a rapper and as a businessman. When he was gunned down while driving in front of Toledo Hospital in March of 2021, he was building his music career and clothing line in Atlanta.
He just wanted more out of life, so he started traveling and getting so much into his music. He started going places, seeing bigger things. Then he started having concerts. That's his face.
His music lives on through his albums, his spirit through a beautiful mural on LaGrange Street. Tragedy, unfortunately, has been a frequent companion for Porter's mother. Her husband, Sean, died in a Norwood Avenue fire.
2019, I lost my husband. That's why Jovan was here.
Oh, okay.
Yep, Jovan only came back from Atlanta just because we had just lost everything.
Ironically, a potential gift could come from another fire the family experienced in 2015. This one was on Palmwood, a rental property for Sean. More than $12,000 was put into the city's escrow account after that fire.
I do recall him mentioning that before because I said, why are you keeping the house? And he started explaining that like, once I get it up to code and stuff, then I have money that's like in escrow that's waiting.
But like dozens of other accounts, the city considered it abandoned in November. Toledo, however, is re-examining those accounts since the 11 Investigates report in February.
When I saw the commercial, I was like, wait a minute.
Told consistently.
Abina has been working with Councilman Nick Comise, but the city tells us that she needs to prove she has a legal right to the insurance money, and she must work with the new owner to ensure that all repairs have been made, or else that money will just stay abandoned. But Toledo is unique. While the city is legally able to declare fire escrow money abandoned, no other city in Northwest Ohio does, as far as we could tell. Now, 11 Investigates got records from 16 different cities, and none of them transferred money. In fact, one administrator told us, why would we? It's not our money. For Abina, the money could help her build her nonprofit organization. Uniquely Saving Our Sons provides emotional and financial support for parents and children impacted by violence. It was created because of her son, whose middle name was Unique. Jovan Unique Porter.
It's my faith in God, and that's what sustained me, and to know that for me to still be there has to be more purpose for me to help other people. I can't get nothing else out of it.